Good morning, guys. Today I am here at the Arikok National Park. We're going to do the MIRALAMAR trail, which is the trail that has to do with the gold mining part of Aruba's history. That's more or less like almost like 200 years ago. Actually, the first time it was found was, I think, in 1824. So that is almost 200 years ago. And after that, there was like a gold rush. And this is one of those areas, not the only area, but definitely one of those areas that had to do with our gold mine, gold rush part of history. It was a brief period, only a few decades, but definitely a very important one, and a lot of history is told. Now today I am again with Marlene. You might remember her from a few episodes I've had in the past. So she is here with me today. Hello. Now back here, I wanted to show you guys, like back there from the trail, you can see the Hooiberg, and more or less that's where the airport is situated. The hotels are way here on our right, and the visitor center is right down there somewhere. So it's not too far. You could even like start your hike from the visitor center and continue this like on this path. Now the interesting part of this hike is where we'll see some of the crystal stones first. Like we would be like walking, as you can see over here, in a very rugged, like cactus-like, for like the Americans would compare it to maybe like Arizona and those type of states. And we'll start noticing later on some bright white stones scattered around, and that's pretty interesting to see. It's very different. It gives quite a bit of contrast to what we see here. But in those stones is where they were finding the pieces of gold, and they were extracting them at the nearby Balashi gold mill. So I do recommend, if you are hiking here in the park, that you would do it early in the morning. Right now we are doing it like 11 o'clock. Not the best time to be hiking, but fortunately today the weather is collaborating in this case, and it's quite cloudy, and it doesn't feel too hot actually. That's a good thing. And I wanted to start showing you a few things. So the cactus, this type of cactus, we name it like the tuna cactus. That's the name that we use for it here in Aruba. And it does have a fruit, and it also has a beautiful, beautiful red flower. And you also have, like we call, the bushy cactus, and also the large, cactus here on Aruba. And they also have the hiking trails marked, so you know you're on the right path. And in case you do run into trouble, the park rangers would know where to find you, so you can feel very safe. They do give you a map at the entrance, so don't be using your GPS, guys. A map is still the best way to be doing your trails here in the park. And yeah, this is pretty much the way it will remain. And if you're coming in the months of, let's say, October to December, you might find it to be a little bit more green than the usual, because of it being like a little bit more of a rainy season. And now we do start to see the white stones. So these are the ones that I was talking about. Yeah, so this is the one I was talking about. This is the crystal stones. There's also a Cerro de Cristal, which I did a walk video on a couple of months ago already. Wow, no pressure, huh? It kind of forms the A letter of Aruba. It just happens to fall like that. And I was just gonna say that the cactus here, they don't grow any larger, any higher. No pressure. But they don't grow any higher because of the wind, because of a constant wind. It's a beautiful area. Yeah, because of a constant wind, and that's the reason why they start falling, not just because of the weight, but also because of like the wind. Man, why am I tired already? And this is a pretty nice looking cactus also. You do not find these all that easy, but that's a different kind of cactus. You will not see these in like the more urban areas. You will see the cactus, even if you haven't been to Aruba, you will see the cactus right next to the beach. Sometimes, like, depends on where it is. I know at the Mangalhaldo beach, for example, they have a few. And yeah, these are some of the stones that they have dug up in this area. You will find a lot of, I think they call them shafts. So they dig up for in certain specific areas. I'm talking about maybe 100 years ago or so. Actually more like 150 and such. There are some photos online and also on the website of the park. You'll probably find a few. So we have been walking along some of the areas that they have dug up for the gold, and right now we're reaching an area that is full of these smaller white crystal stones, and you could definitely see that they probably had them there and they were like disposing of them, the pieces that they were probably not using anymore. And we could still even see them like here on this side, many of them. So this is pretty cool. And I think that if you want to come to the national park, you want to do like a short hike, and or you think like, no, I'm not really in great condition, or it's a hike that even though there is a short climb, it's not too bad. You could do this one. It will only take a few minutes. Oh wow, take a look at, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it goes way down. I cannot even see the end of it. And also like being a very historic part of Aruba actually. So now that we have reached this other part of the hill, of like one of the main hills of MIRALAMAR, you can start seeing, I'm gonna show you briefly, you can start seeing the highest point of Aruba, which is the Yamanota Hill, which has the antenna, and also the Cerro Cabay, the horse hill, which is, let's see, I do believe it's like the third highest after the Cerro de Arikok, the Arikok Hill itself. And I love like these white, see how bright they are? Bright white. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Don't be taking them home.
No, just to show.
So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that topic also. Some folks do say, well, I'm gonna take a piece home. Do not be doing that. I've mentioned it in previous videos that if you are caught at the airport, you risk of getting fined. Just to put that out so you know it. Don't be taking anything from Aruba as far as nature, like seashells or anything like that. We're gonna continue with the hike. There's another section way over there. The hike is going really good, and it's very windy, which keeps it very, you know, like it doesn't get humid. So this is very good right now. So it's actually, of all things, raining today, but we are reaching, in any case, a part where we can spot a lot of these white stones that I was talking about, and look how the contrast of the landscape looks with them. Pretty darn cool, and you can still see some of them down here. This cactus is not letting go of itself. But this is a pretty cool area with these white stones. And this is where they used to, like, I don't want to be like, do as if I'm an expert. There's like an echo over here. But this is where they would probably bring everything and, you know, have the, how would we explain this even? I mean, I'm not by any means an expert, but I'm thinking this is where everything was brought initially, probably soaked. Mm-hmm. And then they took them to the Balashi gold mill. That's where the actual extraction was of the gold. But it's interesting to see that these structures, or at least part of them, are still here. I would have loved for them to like reconstruct them in their, more or less their original state, how they used to look. Some folks nowadays, or historical folks nowadays think that that is not good to do, like especially like where there have been some wars and things like that. But I think for the history of our island, it would have certainly been a thing. And even the Balashi gold mill is, or has not been restored. I hope it does one day. Now over here we are looking at some columns where probably like some sort of like pipe or something was laid. There's also one over there. So when you are doing the hike, it's not just like what you see next to the trail, directly onto the trail, but look to the sides. You might discover a few things. I would have liked for the park to put some more signs and some more parts of what you are actually looking at. That would be cool. But maybe, just maybe, they might not have that information, or at least that the information is not entirely, oh, here we can see it. So maybe the information is not entirely confirmed. This is definitely an older part of things. See some more pieces, and I don't know why, but this one does look like it was at least partially restored. Oh my gosh, she was, oh my gosh, oh no, was that painful? It had to be.
Beige-wel.
Oh wow, she was taking a photo of that, and then she didn't realize it got into her hand, and oh my gosh. So guys, be careful, just in case. I was about to show you guys this actually, and so I turned back. Wow. So this is one of those places that they were digging up, and this is a pretty large shaft. I would say it's not all that deep, but it is a large area. I can also see, what are we? We are at the number 6, just in case you are doing this hike, you know it for reference. And when there are those holes in the ground, you can see like they have somewhat protected, but watch out, of course, always. I know a lot of folks do fun things, so to speak, but if you fall in there, there's a pretty good chance you either get very seriously injured or even risk death. And these are also some of the aloe plants, but these are not the typical. I'll show you. Oh, here they are. So these will grow. Oh, there's a, what was that? A hummingbird, I think. You don't see those too often anymore, but these will grow like this one and have beautiful flowers. Now these are still, believe it or not, they're still not in full bloom. See the ones on the top. They are not still at full bloom, but they are certainly very, very beautiful to look at. We have reached one of those other areas, and this is one of the most popular ones here because let's see if I cannot see it myself, so I'm turning the camera and see if you guys can spot the like where the bottom is. And these are very steep, and a tree growing over it already over the last couple of years probably. These are cool, aren't they?
Super cool.
Super cool. And again,
Real deep.
yeah.
Very deep.
And you can see why. Again, you see some crystal stones, and they, you gotta try to understand, like years ago, why they would pick these areas. We do not know for sure, but they probably dug up part of it and said, yeah, that this one might be one of those. From this area, and I'll show you right here, there's like a spot where you can like stop and have something to eat, something to drink if you bring something. And you continue on that side, you can hike up to the Yamanota Hill. That's an interesting hike, but it's definitely a lot harder than this one. So take that into account. But if it's something that you do want to do, please do. It is definitely interesting. We're gonna take this trail for a bit, see where it leads. So these flowers are so beautiful, so beautiful. We'll turn around to see them one at a time. They are, as I said, not in full bloom, but there are many of them in this area, and it's situated right next to the sitting area, like the rest area. Beautiful. Some more folks hiking over here. So whenever you're hiking in the park, make sure you get some water, especially, something sweet, maybe to bring along, something salty. And yeah, we brought some Pringles, I think. This is not sponsored by Pringles. But yeah, make sure you get at least some good cold water. It will heat up. Today is not bad, as I said. The weather is not too bad. We just saw some of those hikers you saw previously, and they have a lot of water, and they are hiking up to the Fontaine Cave. So I do hope that they can find it and come back safely. There are no like real refreshment stops, no restaurants. There used to be one. There was one near the Fontaine Cave, more or less, but it's not open again, so keep that in mind. There's also no restrooms, if that is a thing also. And I do hope that changes. I do believe that we should have at least one or two where they sell some stuff apart from the entrance. Yeah, for the hikers especially. So guys, we have reached the end of this episode. I'm going to still show you this last part. This is on the very top of the MIRALAMAR hill. That's after the little monument where you saw the crystal stones. So let's check this one out. I don't know exactly. Again, I would love for them to restore all of these places. You can see like the stones that they were using. Let's continue on this side briefly. over here extremely windy, but you can see like the Yamanota here on our your right, my left, and more of the areas. It is not in a very good condition anymore. Obviously, it's not what it used to be. Thank goodness we do have the photos to have a better understanding of how this area used to look like. And there were some pretty large buildings actually, with some houses also in the area. I hope you liked this episode. I know that this one was like a hike one, so nothing to eat, nothing to show you further up, but it is a very, very nice little hike. As I said, check this one out if you're in the park, if you want to do like a small hike. I think this would not take more than like 30 minutes, depending on how fast you can hike. Nothing further. See you next week, guys. Bye bye. Until next time.